300 men stood up at the same time. No weapons, no yelling, just 300 inmates rising from their seats in perfect silence. Guard Captain Reynolds' hand froze on his baton, halfway out of his belt. Mike Tyson had not moved, had not said a word, just stood there, calm. Nobody had ever seen anything like this in that prison. To understand how 300 men chose to stand with Mike Tyson against prison guards, we need to go back 6 weeks earlier. Indiana State Prison, 1992. Mike Tyson had been there for 4 months. 25 years old, former heavyweight champion of the world, now inmate 922335. Most celebrity inmates got attention. Some got respect. Mike got both, but he also got something else. Resentment. Guard Captain Jack Reynolds hated it. Reynolds was 48 years old, 22 years in corrections. He had worked his way up from entry-level guard to captain. He ran C-block with an iron fist. Inmates feared him. Other guards respected him. Then Mike Tyson arrived, and suddenly Reynolds was not the most intimidating man in C-block anymore. Inmates stopped mid-conversation when Mike walked by. They asked him about boxing. They treated him different. Reynolds noticed, and he hated it. The first month, Reynolds just watched, observed how inmates interacted with Mike, how Mike carried himself. Quiet, respectful to staff, no trouble. That made it worse somehow. If Mike had been a problem inmate, Reynolds could have handled it through official channels. But Mike followed rules, kept his head down. So Reynolds started looking for reasons. It started small. During a cell inspection, Reynolds found a book on Mike's shelf. The Prince by Machiavelli. "You understand this?" Reynolds asked. "Yes, sir," Mike replied. Reynolds stared at him for a long moment, flipping through the book, looking for anything to write Mike up. The cell was spotless. He found nothing. "You think you are special, Tyson?" Reynolds said quietly. Mike did not respond. "In here, you are just another inmate, same as everyone else. You remember that?" "Yes, sir." Over the following weeks, the harassment escalated. Reynolds targeted Mike constantly, making up rules that applied to no one else. In the cafeteria one morning, Reynolds called Mike over. "Your shirt is untucked." Mike looked down. His shirt was fully tucked in. "Sir, my shirt is..." "Are you arguing with me?" "No, sir." "Tuck it in. Properly." Mike tucked his already tucked shirt in again while other inmates watched. They knew what was happening. Harassment. During phone time, Mike was 3 minutes into his weekly 10-minute call when Reynolds appeared. "Time is up, Tyson." "Sir, I have 7 minutes left." "I said time is up." Mike looked at the clock showing 7 minutes remaining. He hung up. The next inmate got his full 10 minutes. At commissary, Reynolds made Mike open all his sealed items: soap, deodorant, notebook, inspecting them for nothing. The next inmate in line bought the same items. Reynolds did not ask him to open anything. Inmates started noticing the pattern. They talked about it in their cells, in the yard, during meals. Reynolds is on Tyson 24/7. It is personal. That guard hates him. Tyson ain't even doing nothing, just following rules. Mike never reacted, never argued beyond a single clarifying question. His cellmate could not understand it. "Why you let him do that to you?" "Because he wants me to react," Mike said quietly. "That is what he's looking for. I do not give it to him. But Reynolds kept pushing. One day in the cafeteria, Reynolds walked over to Mike's table. "Tyson, you are sitting at the wrong table. Go sit at table 12. Table 12 was in the corner, isolated, away from everyone. Mike stood, picked up his tray, started walking. Frank, an older inmate at Mike's table, stood up. "Captain, can I move to table 12 too?" Reynolds turned. "Sit down, inmate. Just asking, sir." I said, "Sit down." Frank sat, but his message was sent. Other inmates saw it. Someone trying to show support, being shut down. Mike sat alone at table 12 and ate while Reynolds watched with satisfaction. That night, inmates talked. Marcus, a lifer who had been down 18 years, said it loudest. "Reynolds is trying to break him, isolate him, make him react." Another inmate spoke. "Tyson is handling it, though, staying cool." Marcus nodded. "For now." But Reynolds will not stop. He wants Tyson to snap. They were right. The harassment continued, each incident small enough to seem petty, but together they painted a clear picture. Reynolds was abusing his power, targeting one man for no reason other than resentment, and inmates were getting angry. Not at Mike, at Reynolds. Marcus started talking to other inmates, spreading the word quietly. "If Reynolds pushes too far, we stand with Tyson. Not fighting, not rioting. Just stand. Show Reynolds he is not alone." "How?" someone asked. "We just stand up. 300 men stand up. Guards will notice. Cannot ignore it." Word spread through C Block. Most inmates agreed. Mike had done nothing wrong. Reynolds was abusing his power. Someone needed to check it. Then came the day everything changed. Friday, cafeteria, lunchtime, 400 inmates, guards stationed around the perimeter, Reynolds supervising. Mike got his tray, sat at his usual table with Frank and others. He was eating, talking quietly. Reynolds walked over. "Tyson, stand up." Mike set down his fork. Stood. "Yes, sir." "Your tray is too full. Portion control rules. You took too much food." Mike looked at his tray. Standard portions. Same as everyone else at the table. Same as everyone in the cafeteria. "Sir, this is what they gave me at the line. Are you arguing?" "No, sir. Just explaining." "I do not care what they gave you. You violated portion control. You are written up." Mike said nothing. A write-up meant loss of privileges. Reynolds pulled out his notepad, started writing. Frank stood up. "Captain, we all got the same portions. Sit down, inmate." Frank sat, but nearby tables were paying attention now. Reynolds finished writing. "Tyson, dump your tray and go back to your cell." Mike picked up his tray, started walking toward the trash. That is when Reynolds made his mistake. As Mike walked past, Reynolds said, loud enough for nearby inmates to hear, "In here, you are nobody, Tyson. Just another convict. All that fame, all that money, did not mean nothing. You are just like the rest of these losers." Mike stopped walking, did not turn around, just stopped. The cafeteria got quieter. Inmates were watching. Reynolds sensed the attention, stepped closer to Mike back. "What is wrong, champ? Truth hurt?" Mike turned slowly, looked Reynolds in the eyes. "I never claimed to be better than anyone here, sir. But But you think you are. I see how they treat you. Like you are special. I do not control how people treat me. I just do my time. Reynolds' hand moved to his baton. Not threatening yet. Just touching it. You do your time how I tell you to do it. Mike stood still. Calm. Yes, sir. Reynolds gripped the baton handle. You think because you were heavyweight champion, you are tough. You think that means something in here? Inmates were standing now. Not all of them, but some. 5, 10, 20 inmates standing from their tables, not moving toward them, just standing. Reynolds noticed. His confidence wavered. Sit down, all of you. More inmates stood. 30, 50, 100. Reynolds' hand tightened on the baton, started to pull it from his belt. That is when everyone stood up. 300 men, all at once. Perfect silence. No weapons, no yelling, no threats. Just 300 inmates on their feet, standing, watching. Reynolds' hand froze, baton halfway out. Mike had not moved, had not called for help, had not done anything. But every man in that cafeteria had chosen to stand with him. Other guards around the perimeter tensed, hands going to their equipment. But they did not move. They were outnumbered 20 to 1. The warden voice came over the intercom. Captain Reynolds, stand down. All inmates, return to your seats, now. Nobody moved. I said, return to your seats. Still, nobody moved. Then Mike spoke. Quiet, calm. Everyone sit down. It is okay. The 300 men sat down, all at once. Same perfect silence. Mike looked at Reynolds. I will go back to my cell now, sir. Reynolds' face was pale. His hand slowly released the baton, pushed it back into his belt. He nodded, unable to speak. Mike dumped his tray and walked out. Every inmate watched him go. None looked at Reynolds. That afternoon, Reynolds was called to the warden office. 15 minutes later, he was reassigned to a different block, away from Mike, away from C block. A new captain took over, Morrison. First thing he did was address the inmates during yard time. I know what happened yesterday. I know why it happened. That kind of targeting does not happen on my watch. You follow rules, I respect you. Staff disrespects you without cause. That gets handled too. He looked at Mike. Tyson, you got no special treatment here. But you do not get special harassment either. We clear? Yes, sir. Good. Mike did the rest of his time quietly. No incidents. Morrison treated him like every other inmate. Firm but fair. And the 300 men who had stood up? They never talked about it. Everyone who was there knew what it meant. It was not about Mike being famous. It was not about Mike being tough. It was about a man being targeted for no reason other than who he used to be. And 300 men deciding that was not right. Before we continue, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Would you have stood up? Now back to the story.